is Mission Mairead Boyle. To coincide with Law Idir na Siúnta na Man, we have invited Bernie Sherry, the Health and Wellbeing Officer from Anwa, Scotstown, in for an alagav beg. Gia ditch Bernie, consta tatu.
Tommy Gumai.
By who, Bernie? Bernie, the Health and Wellbeing Officer, not the simplest tasks. Scotstown and your community and the GAA, you're really heavily involved there. Where did that all stem from?
Well, probably I come from a family. My father would have always got involved with community, parish. We were always involved in choirs. I played the organ in the chapel, football, score, through accordion band, sisters and brothers, they were all involved. So sort of stemmed, when you're brought up that, you're always inclined to maybe get back into it. I did go out of it for a while. And then in 2016, the chairperson of Scotstown, Steve McKenna, asked me to be Health and Wellbeing Officer. I didn't know much about it. But when I took on the role, I just said, I'm going to do something with it. And when it comes to the end of the year, I can sit back and say, well, look, I did my best and I tried.
And you and your projects are such an inspiration. Now, do you think the GAA and your club link has helped to reach out to members of the community that are not actually, that may not be footballers or people in score, just link out to that other part of the community?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt, you know, all the health and wellbeing projects from Make Your Céili to our mental health talk night. We also had Philly McMahon down choices, Oisin McConville, you know, gambling and all that. It just reached out to the whole community. But any of them initiatives, especially the Make Your Céili and that, you can have an idea which I come up with. But if your club and your community doesn't back you, then it's just an idea. But when you get the backing and everybody pulls in, and I have to say and compliment the Scotstown GAA club, no matter what idea you come up with, they're there to help you, they're there to back you. And so was the whole community of Tidavnet. And it has brought us all closer together. And it has got people inside the complex that maybe wouldn't have been there before or have no interest in football. And as I say, the motto in Scotstown is, we are a GAA club. It is a bit football, but it's also community.
So you did mention there, Make or Phone Your Céili or the mental health evening. Now, they were massive successes. You got the Specsavers Make a Difference award and you were on national TV. You know, did you just get up one morning and think, I'm going to do Make Your Céili? Or is Céili, and obviously maybe something you have done? Or, you know, how did Make Your Céili and the mental health evening come about? How did I understand your club backed you up afterwards, but how did it come about? How did you just say, I'm going to do this?
It's just looking at ideas to do with the health and well-being. And we have a brilliant community here. You know, I went to a few meetings with other counties and that down in the north, and they were on about walking clubs. We were very lucky. We had walking clubs, ICA, community games, whereas there's a lot of stuff going on in the community already. That's fine. You know, the parish is good. So I was just trying to come up with an idea. And look, we're farmers here, and you know, you come in the evening and you were sitting and you got that you didn't want to go anywhere or do anything. And I used to go Céilian with my mother and father. So who were we going to visit this evening? But we called it your Céili, you know. And we, myself, hubby, and even the kids, like I used to go everywhere with mommy and daddy. We had got out of that. And that's where that come from, you know, get people back out. It would be just to visit. Initially, it was to visit older people and people who are lonely, but turned out, you know, you don't have to be living on your own to be lonely, you know. And there's also, you can share the good stories and the bad stories, and people having babies and that. And what we found out when people went out and visited, and they really come on board, young and old, and they did it through the schools and everything, the person that made the visit or lifts the phone and makes the phone call, you get as much out of it as the person that you're connecting with. And that is something maybe that I didn't realise at the start, but that is something that always come back, and people would say, you get as much out of it yourself. You feel good, you feel better, you did something, you just didn't lay up.
So do you think then, you know, you've said that you and your kids went on the Céili, you know, with that was really, that project was really not, as you said, Céilian with people in the community, but it's really bonding the family unit together, right? You know, this is, you know, we're going on our, you know, that unity.
Yeah, and just to bring back some of them old, you know, that old community spirit. We you know, I think we lost it a wee bit. I think it's back, and it will come back twofold now with the pandemic, because I think we've realised what we lost, and it's the simple things. We probably didn't appreciate being able to just pop into somebody's house for a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, and we had actually got away from that. And we were all striving for bigger and things and fly here and fly there, and we were all very busy. And it was just at that stage it was to get people, as I thought, even our own two kids, off Facebook or not so much Facebook, but they'd be on Xboxes and stuff like that, and off their phones to just go out and know what it is to communicate with people and hear old people's stories. There's people out there that have loads of stories, and we've quit just conversation, and young people are on the phone and they're texting and they're messaging, and we do it ourselves, whereas we should be actually physically talking to people.
And I know you mentioned the Choices night and the Choices by Philly McMahon, and then you also had the mental health night. Now, I happened to be at the mental health evening myself, and I thought it was exceptional from beginning to end. It was represented by a lot of people in the county and a lot of for all ages. It was the big one for me.
It was. We've put a lot of work on that, and I'm not going to take it come on to the health and wellbeing, but I'm going to give all credit to that really to Dermot Foley. He's part of the club. Dermot is Scotstown physio, and he also has his own practice there in Monaghan town. But we had a chat, and I just listened to him, and I took on board what he was talking about, and he was able to organise, the services and everything. But more importantly, and I think you that attended, it was the personal stories on the night that really reminisced with people. That made the huge difference. And, inspirational they were to get up in front of their own community and stand up and tell their story. But it far-reaching consequences, hopefully, in years to come. And we're going to have to do an awful lot more of that, I think, with everything that has happened in this last 2 years, especially this last year, both for young and old, get people back out into our community, how is their mental health and that. And just open up the subject. Don't be afraid to talk about it. That it's, that cliche, it's okay not to be okay. And I think it opened up the conversation. But they were inspirational, the 3 speakers that night, to be able to get up in front of their community and tell their story. And it meant so much. And that there is help out there and services out there.
They were excellent. And as you said, in the coming years, it's going to be more of a need, and I suppose that's going to put added pressure in a club on the in the wellbeing officer in years to come. So it's going to, and I suppose, going to heighten the whole thing, I suppose, because of the pandemic and the non-social element of everything that's going on.
It is, but I think the GAA and everybody's club, they're well positioned to help. And they do football, and there's ladies and everything. How much do we miss now just taking the kids out to training and people that coached? We're all missing this, and things that happen in the community, just the simple stuff. But I think the GAA is well placed, and all clubs are well placed to help. And the message is, Scotstown is here to help. We've said that right throughout this whole lockdown. We're here to help if you need us, and in any way, and I'm sure all GAA clubs are the same.
Oh, there would be. And I'm just going to, so if there's anybody out there in the club that has a little idea, what's your advice to them?
Look, if you have an idea, just run with it. Don't be afraid. I ask advice. I would always ring a few people and see what they think.
Yeah.
Check it out with them, and if they say yeah, go with that. And as I say, I've been very lucky have the backing of, as I say, the club and the community. But it doesn't matter how small or how big, go with it. Try it out. Our motto here is, if it only helps one person, if one person come out of that hall that night after the mental health talk, or after the talk with Philly McMahon, or after any event that we run, if somebody got a Céili or a phone call and it lifted their spirits, if you're only helping one person, I call that a success.
And I suppose that really answers my next question. I suppose there's a lot of women out there that probably would love some position on a committee, but probably feel, God, can I commit to it? I'm juggling this, that, and another. I suppose just your advice is just go out, give it a go, and if it helps one person, well then that's it's going to be satisfactory on both ends.
Oh, it is. And even my own, I had got out of being part of the community, and when I was asked to do that, I got back in, I got talking to people, and even my own kids got out. The husband was able to come and help out with things, and you sort of miss that buzz when you go talking to people and ideas and bounce off ideas. A lot of them, as I say, they were under the Health and Wellbeing project, but there were other people's idea. Like Emma McKenna mentioned getting Philly McMahon down. She was the Scotstown ladies captain at the time. Like, and I went with it. We worked with them. It was super nice. So you'll get ideas from other people. This is what we should try. This is, why don't you try this? Or why don't you help? And it works. Like, so I would say especially women, get you out of the house, get you away, anything just to connect with people and chatting to ones. It's good.
So, I suppose in your own club and the different clubs, women are taking a more prominent stance on committees now. They're more, they're more popular possibly than they were 10 or 12 years ago. I'm here as an officer on this committee, and obviously there's other girls on this one, but women are taking more of a prominent stance on committees.
They are.
GAA, within all organisations.
Within all organisations. And it's very important because, look, we give a different perspective, women. We need to back ourselves more. Your mothers or daughters or whatever, and you might just see the situation from a different angle than somebody else. And I think women on committees, all committees, it just gives that balance and a wee bit more understanding and stuff. And, we have to back ourselves. We know what we're talking about most of the time.
As you say, you're on Scotstown. You're on Scotstown committee, and you were in the bands and score and did a few things like that. So, what has been the most rewarding moment? Well, volunteering, sure. Whether you're volunteered to be a participant in score or volunteered to be in the band. What has been your most rewarding moment? Looking back at it.
Just when somebody comes up or mentions, the make your Céili, or they were at one of them nights, like, or somebody went and phoned somebody or made their Céili and they got as much out of it. It's just them little snippets in the community, and even when the community gets recognised and the club gets recognised for the work they're doing, you say, well, that's working.
Yes. Especially when, as I said, nationwide recognition and Make Your Céili got it was on Ear to the Ground, and it got great reviews on Ear to the Ground.
No, it was good, and like that come out on the filmed here, and it was a great experience for everybody and for the community and everybody. But yeah, it is nice. I'm passionate about it, and I did it the first year, and they said, "Are you going to do it next year?" And I said, "Yes, of course I'm going to do it next year," because people's circumstances change, and I've learned that more than anybody. Your circumstances can change from one year to the next. And people that were making Céilis were receiving Céilis. People that are making phone calls are receiving the phone calls or the get well cards or whatever. So that's why it's important, and hope to keep it going all the time.
Any words of wisdom your mother or grandmother ever gave you to share with us this evening?
My mother always said, have manners, be kind, respect yourself and others.
Good words.
All right.
Yeah. If you could have any job, what would it be?
I'd own my own vineyard. Nothing else needed to say there.
Well, in France or Italy or?
Well, if I could have it in Ireland, it'd be even better. But yeah, sure. If I had to go out for 3 months of the year and test the wine, sure. So you'd have to do them things.
Own vineyard, make your own wine.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what would you say today to your 20-year-old self?
Sorry, the phone fell there.
You're fine.
20-year-old self. Follow your dreams and back yourself.
Follow your dreams and back yourself. And I suppose, from listening to you, the big message is volunteering can be okay at times, stressful and takes up time, but at the end of the day, it's really, really rewarding, isn't it?
It is. You get, you feel better about yourself. You're out there and you're meeting people. I'll be honest, the health and wellbeing it helped my mental health, and it gets you out there and gets you talking to people and gets you thinking. You are thinking about new ideas and what way you can help, and you love talking, and people come and they'll ring you up and say, I have an idea. I love that, and gets other people thinking within the community, how can we help as well? So yeah, I would, same as yourselves, you're doing a brilliant job there.
So you're a great driver, Bernie. You're a great driver at all these things.
Love to see women on, like yourselves, you're on committee. I love to see the like of Gráinne McAwain, on television, and Joanna Reardon, people like that, journalism, and I love to see people getting on well on, television and radio and all that. Love to see women doing well in that, especially in sport. I think Gráinne's doing brilliant, good ambassador
definitely.
for Monaghan.
And you know, Bernie, I've seen on social media recently where you had a little birthday and there was a bit of a drive-through. So happy birthday, Brett on a ditch.
Yeah, thank you for my good. That was unbelievable. You know, my family and the Scotstown GAA club organised that, and I didn't realise how much I had missed seeing people. And literally, they were driving by me and waving at me. I couldn't describe. Yeah, I was an emotional wreck, which I didn't think I would be, but it meant so much. Unbelievable. I couldn't describe a better way of having your 50th birthday. I'm thinking I wouldn't have had anything.
And Bernie, how are you?
Yeah, I've had a good day today. Some people might know or might not know, I'm recovering from cancer treatment. It would be around this time, it was actually the day after St. Patrick's Day that I went to the doctor last year, and I knew straight away from his reaction I was in trouble. 6 weeks later, I had my operation, followed by chemo and radium. So, you know, as I say, people's circumstances changed. I appreciated the messages, the phone calls, the get well cards, the letters, and just knowing that people were thinking about you and praying for you. It meant so much. So the only advice I have for women, you know, look after yourselves. I probably should have went sooner when I look back. Probably my body was telling me as well. You know, if you have any worries at all, don't be afraid to go and get yourselves checked. Mine was breast cancer, but if you have any fears or doubts about your own health, go and get yourself looked about. And you know, I was looked after, and that was through the pandemic, like, and just a big, huge thank you to all the frontline staff and consultants and everything. And I'm in recovery now, and I know loads of people, even within the parish, that's gone through it as well. And look, it's not easy, but you try and keep the bright side out as best you can, and you have a chance. So at least if you go and you can get it looked about and early enough. But I have a newfound admiration for anybody that has went through cancer or is going through it at the moment. I've nothing only respect and admiration for anybody that's gone through that at the moment.
Bernie, I admire, just really admire your openness about the whole thing. You know, do you think that has helped, you know, helped you to get to where you are in your recovery today? You know, that being able to talk about it and...
Yeah, it is, and it's important. I think women in general, you know, we're mothers, we're wives, we're grannies, sisters, daughters. We incline to look after everybody else, you know. So I'm just saying, take time out, look after yourselves. Just be kind to yourself and your body. If I've learned anything, it's time now is all I have in my hands. It's recovery. It's, you know, at times it's slow, but you know, you just have to say, be kind to yourself and take a breath and take a look around you. Because what I was worrying about, you know, before St. Patrick's Day last year, I can tell you now, not one worry would I give it. Simple stuff. You know, I appreciate, you know, being able to look out. I can't get out. You know, I miss going into Scotstown. I miss going into McMahon shop. Simple stuff, meeting people and all that. But I do appreciate, you know, I think we're taking a better look around us, appreciate looking out the window, nature, you know, your 5 kilometres. I'm sure we've all discovered something within our own 5 kilometres that we didn't even know was there, beauty spots, whatever. So I think we're appreciating home more, simple stuff in life, our own country and our own communities and the people in it.
Is that taking it slow, isn't it? And probably, I know in my case, discovering your own home, like you were just like a ship in the night here, is just taking it slow. You know, the pandemic brought that on for me, but, you know, just taking it slow and discovering your... So when, you know, how do you find being in all the time?
Look, I find it difficult. I'm a people's person. I prefer to be out and chatting to people and that, but you have to do what you have to do, and you have to be sensible. And, you know, I'm being sensible. You have to watch your immune system. I always had to be sensible because going through treatment, chemotherapy, or radium, whatever, going up and down to Dublin, so you had to look after yourself. So the best way to do that, unfortunately, was to stay within your own bubble, and I will continue to do that for another while. On hopefully, you know, there'll be brighter days ahead, and vaccines is coming, and we'll all get back out and be standing at sideline and hopefully cheering on and back
Shout,
at score.
or Bernie,
Back at score. And
Bernie, and actually the last time I saw you, Bernie, you were helping to rob a bank in Drumhowen.
Yes,
On
Drumhowen or
stage.
Tully Corbett.
Tully
Yeah,
Corbett.
and that money's nearly gone. So the Scotstown score group are itching to get back out to rob another bank in an Ulster final.
Oh yeah, well look, I can't wait to see that group and yourself on stage in an Ulster final, Bernie.
Thank you.
Bernie,
hopefully we'll all get back out to it.
Bernie, it has been a pleasure. And we, on behalf of myself and I suppose everyone in the county and nationwide, we wish you plenty of health and happiness and a speedy recovery, Bernie.
And I really do appreciate that. Thank you very much. And as I say, a big shout out to all women on this International Women's Day. Be kind to yourself, look after yourselves, and that's all I can say. Over and out from Monaghan.
Over and out from Monaghan.
Slán.
Look at Bernie again on behalf of Costa Culture GAA and Costa County Monaghan. We would just like to thank you for taking the time out this evening to do this and wish you all the best. And in Bernie's words, all women need to be kind to themselves and look after themselves. This is the last of our little interviews for Law Idan Ashunt and a Man, and I'd like to thank our technical person Mairead Boyle, who's working in the background.
Just want to congratulate our own Scotstown ladies. They finished their 2,000-kilometre virtual tour around Ireland, and they raised a vast amount of money for breast cancer and Crocus in Monaghan. Well done, girls. Absolutely inspirational. That's the type of ladies you want and women you want in your parish.